Operation Red Wings was carried out by the U.S. military in Afghanistan's Kunar province in 2005, with the objective of disrupting and neutralizing insurgent forces, focusing on a target
Them boys got them RPKs.
named Ahmad Shah and his group, known as the Mountain Tigers. Originally, Operation Red Wings was planned and to be carried out by the Marines of the 2nd Battalion, 3rd Marines. Their mission focused on capturing Ahmed Shah, identified as a lower priority target, following successful operations by their predecessors who had apprehended all known higher and mid-level targets. But due to their lack of organic lift assets for the mission, the Marines of the 2nd Battalion 3rd Marines requested helicopter support from the 160th SOAR, also known as the Night Stalkers, who are part of Combined Joint Special Operations Task Force Afghanistan. The SEALs overseeing the special operations.
So this, like I stated, this was made off of the movie Lone Survivor. Mark Wahlberg was in there, and this is a crazy story that happened, bro.
Task Force in the region agreed to participate on the condition that they would lead the reconnaissance and serve as the main assault force during the air raid on buildings suspected to house high-value targets. Meanwhile, the Marine Infantry Company was tasked with supporting roles, particularly in securing the outer perimeter. In light of their limited options and the mission's importance, the Marines agreed to proceed with the operation to capture the target. This scenario, where SOCOM often assumes control of developed operations or intelligence from conventional units, is not uncommon, but rather a typical practice in military operations. As part of the Red Wings plan, the reconnaissance team was set to deploy the day before to high ground near 3 designated areas of interest. Their mission
He running that Mark 18. I think they were running some Mark 12s in here.
was to observe these areas to confirm Ahmed Shah's presence and gather additional intelligence. The 2nd Battalion 3rd Marines intended to conduct the reconnaissance using a 6-person scout sniper team led by a highly experienced leader. Familiar with the terrain from previous operations, they understood the local conditions and the limitations of their radios. Their strategy involved being airlifted several miles from the target, landing, and then proceeding on foot to infiltrate the area. When the SEALs took over the reconnaissance mission, they assembled a 4-person team, lacking experience in Afghan reconnaissance operations. None of them were trained in reconnaissance, with only one member having prior deployment experience in a combat zone. Despite being advised to bring more powerful radios, the SEALs ignored this suggestion. The Marines, based on their experience, knew the SEALs' radios lacked the necessary range and power. Furthermore, the SEAL reconnaissance team did not have a comprehensive backup plan for communications, relying solely on a weak MBITR radio and a satellite phone. Both communication methods were inadequate.
And I noticed that was an issue. They had in the movie, they had to keep going to different spots. Is like high up in them. They were in the mountains and all that, trying to get to different spots to get in touch with the radio. I remember the radio being a main issue to call in, and once they landed, like there was big times of like different, like even I think when they were getting shot, they were getting chased and all that. These radios weren't working, bro. It was wild.
Despite prior warnings, the SEALs decided to have the helicopter insert.
I remember they landed them somewhere and they had to like climb all this, but like along the way they were just having issues.
A few hundred meters away to reduce the risk of landing directly at the observation point. They conducted multiple false insertions throughout the valley in the preceding week, aiming to confuse locals and insurgents. However, this inadvertently alerted them to an impending operation. After fast roping onto the landing zone as usual, the SEAL team disconnected the ropes from the helicopter, but either they didn't hide them at all or did so poorly. Local residents, alerted by the sound of helicopters, found the ropes quickly and reported it using their own communication devices. Meanwhile, the SEAL team had moved to higher ground and was trying to find a good spot to oversee the designated areas of interest. The insurgents were aware of ISAF rules of engagement and likely had prior knowledge of the SEAL team's location when they sent unarmed individuals with radios and sheep into the hills for reconnaissance. This tactic is commonly used in counterinsurgency operations to locate sniper positions and reconnaissance hideouts. In Iraq, similar strategies involve sending children or unarmed adults to inspect specific buildings, knowing coalition forces would not harm them if encountered. If these scouts identified coalition presence, they would relay the information. This approach proved effective during Operation Red Wings, where the SEAL team was identified and compromised, leading to the detention of the sheep herders. At that point, they had been soft compromised, but unknowingly, they were also hard compromised, because those herders were part of a deliberate effort to counter their reconnaissance.
And I remember in the movie, they were basically like, some of them wanted to kill those herders, like the people they captured. That picture they showed, they captured them. Some of them wanted to, I think one of them wanted to kill them because they sent them back. They just didn't trust that they would not say nothing. They just did not trust them at all. So they wanted to shoot them in their den, like straight up just shoot them.
As a result, Shaw and the enemy fighters in the village realized they had been discovered when the herders failed to return. However, because the SEAL team had not established a formal plan for this situation, they had to decide on the spot what to do. Rather than executing a predetermined response to being compromised depending on the situation, they ended up debating their next move, possibly even taking a vote. Killing them was never a legal or practical option. After being discovered, the SEALs moved to higher ground to use their radio and inform the command of what happened. However, their radios were unreliable, leading to delays in transmitting important information without much real benefit. Meanwhile, about 10 to 15 local enemy fighters, informed by the returning herders about the SEALs' location, size, and weapons, made a plan. They climbed the hills to set up an ambush along the SEALs' route back to the high ground, which also led to the landing zone. They positioned RPG gunners to watch the landing zone in case a helicopter arrived. In the end, as the SEAL team moved back towards the high ground through a ravine, they were ambushed at close range by a group of roughly a squad in size, armed with machine guns. There might have been RPGs and mortars involved, although the insurgents' video footage didn't show any explosive weapons. The battle was quick, and the SEALs who weren't immediately wounded tried to retreat downhill. Luttrell fell down the mountain, while their leader Mike Murphy made a final call on the satellite phone before passing away.
So I know in the movie, they were falling, bro. In the movie, they were falling down like 7 different cliffs, falling, breaking, hitting the heads on everything. It wasn't like they making it way more simple. You got to go watch the movie, bro. These dudes was like falling like crazy, and of course it's the movie though, so Hollywood does make it a little bit better. But the fight did not seem fast at all. And one thing I do notice, I was thinking about this a lot lately because I watch a lot of these type of stories. Like I have immense respect for our men in the service and women, and like you got to understand that these guys, what was it, 4 of them, 4 of them. In military in general, when you hear like a soldier died, like 5 soldiers died during this war or whatever. The thing is like these 5 guys, I think we know one only survived, but they probably took out like 30, 40 people, bro. Like I gotta look that up. I need to look that up. The thing is that they're not being funny when I say that, but the KD is crazy. Let me see. In Operation Red Wing, how many insurgents did the SEALs kill? They won't know the number exactly, but I'm curious if they have an estimate. The mission estimated that he and his team killed around 35 to 40 enemy combatants. And that's the point I'm trying to make, that like 5 people had to take out 35 to 40 of them. However, precise numbers are difficult to verify. There's no official account from the U.S. military. The battle was heavily one-sided in terms of numbers, with the SEALs facing an estimate to 80 to 200 fighters, despite overwhelming. That's what I'm saying. So they're always outnumbered. But that just shows you the skill of the fighter. It shows you the skill of them for 4 of them to be able to take out that amount and go up against them at that point.
On the satellite phone before passing away. The other 2 SEALs also.
And then, yeah, Ryan Murphy apparently went to the top of the mountain to radio in, and then the movie, of course, being Hollywood, it was like a dramatic scene with him, but he definitely did sacrifice himself to make that call, apparently.
Before passing away. The other 2 SEALs also died during this time. Unfortunately, the fight was entirely one-sided. The Quick Reaction Force, comprising 8 SEALs aboard a 160th SOAR Chinook helicopter and escorted by 2 Apaches, faced a critical situation. The SEAL mission commander aboard the Chinook instructed the pilots to reach the landing zone quickly. Because the Chinook was faster than the Apaches, it arrived first. However, without the Apaches present to use their thermal optics for visual confirmation and their weapons for securing the area, the Chinook proceeded to land in broad daylight. It was observed by an RPG gunner stationed there, targeted, and hit, resulting in a crash that tragically killed everyone on board. The next day, another.
I forgot about that. I forgot all about that. So they tried to come in, and they came in and hit a whole nother
visual confirmation and their weapons for securing the area. The Chinook proceeded to land in broad daylight. It was observed by an RPG gunner stationed there, targeted, and hit, resulting in a crash that tragically killed everyone on board. The next day, another SOCOM Quick Reaction Force element, primarily composed of Rangers, was deployed. They landed at a different location and proceeded on foot. This team found Marcus Luttrell, who had been rescued by a villager and still had his magazines loaded. They also recovered the bodies and secured the helicopter crash site. In addition to retrieving all SEAL weapons and gear and getting video footage of the battle, Ahmed Shah, the local insurgent leader targeted in the raid, took a computer brought by the SEALs. After accessing it, Shah got blueprints of the U.S. Embassy in Kabul and other sensitive information. Using this intel and the videos, he made a compelling propaganda video that greatly boosted his credibility. This led to more funding, recruitment, and elevated him to a legitimate high-value target.
I didn't even know about that. Yeah, that's wild.